Today, we're going to talk about the power of mindset. So, today I woke up in the morning and I know that today is my dedicated day to record the podcast. But I was already thinking, I don't feel like doing a podcast today. I don't know what I should talk about. I have a list of topics that I do want to talk about, but I wasn't feeling like any of those topics were calling to me today. But then I realized that's all part of my mindset. Your thoughts really do become reality. So I caught myself thinking that, and then I remembered, no, I promised to keep myself accountable, that I have to record a new podcast episode every Wednesday. And like I mentioned in my previous episode, it doesn't have to be perfect. So that's why that particular episode was really important to me, because I always seek excuses of why I shouldn't do something because it's not going to come out how I want it to come out. But that's the fact of life, that things are not always going to turn out the way you want them to. And that's also a mindset. Your mind is so powerful that your thoughts really do become reality. If I'm thinking in a lazy way, if I'm thinking, hey, I'm not feeling any of these podcast topics, so I'm not going to talk about any of them, then that's going to become my reality. If I'm thinking low self-esteem about myself, if I don't believe in myself, then how do I expect others to believe in me? For example, let me tell you about the time when I was applying to a lot of jobs. And after a while, I kept getting either rejection letters or no response at all. And it became mentally defeating, to the point where in my mind I thought, what's even the point to keep applying to this field where I want to work in? Because I want to work in a field of video production. I thought to myself, what's the point to keep applying if I just keep getting rejected? And I'm programming my mind already to be defeated. Defeat first happens in the mind. And I know we've all heard that at some point, but we don't pay attention to it until we go through it. And I started to realize this: what's the point of me continuing to put out effort to apply to jobs, to release new podcast episodes, if I keep getting rejected by these jobs? If I'm already feeling like maybe this podcast is pointless, if I'm thinking people don't really care whether I post or not, if I'm exercising but I don't see the results that I want, I keep asking myself, what's the point? If I promote my business and I don't get any leads or sales for the month, I ask myself, what's the point? And that same mindset holds you back. I'm already starting to notice it holding me back, where even a week before, I was feeling much more motivated to do certain things, to think, hey, I'm going to promote my business in this way. I'm going to go out and do some promo shoots. I'm going to apply to 10 jobs today. Whereas the week before, I was in the mindset of doing stuff and just taking action. And now this is a new week and I'm feeling the opposite. I'm feeling like, what's the point if I'm not seeing any results? And the cold, hard truth about it is that you're not always going to get rewarded for your efforts. That may not be what you want to hear, what anybody wants to hear, but it's the reality. I think a lot of us are conditioned to see and compare to what we see online, on social media, and comparing ourselves to other people's lives, that we become a little out of touch with what is actually reality. And the reality is that it takes much, much longer to see results. I saw a video the other day and it said, don't really expect to see results until your 100th video. And I thought to myself, well, here I am feeling a little bummed out, 5 videos in, 5 podcast episodes in, where I still have 95 more to go, 95 more episodes to go before I start seeing some kind of result. That's the mentality that I have to take, according to people who have had successful podcasts. I am looking here at podcast statistics, and it says 80% of podcasts don't even make it past 10 episodes. 80%. And I can imagine why. I can imagine the thoughts creeping in onto the minds of those people making the podcast, because I'm having those same thoughts creep in on me as well. That what's the point of doing it? If you're going in expecting people to listen and maybe not a lot of people are listening, maybe no one's listening, but 80% don't make it past 10 episodes. And do you know how many podcasts make it to 100 episodes? Only 5%. Only 5% of podcasts make it past 100 episodes. Now, if I'm releasing one episode a week, that's 52 episodes a year. So if I continue my podcast, and if I do it for 2 years, then I will make it to 100 episodes. And I will now be part of the 5% of podcasts to make it past 100 episodes. And that's so crazy to think that out of so many podcasts that are created, 94 to 95% of them fail. Only 5% make it past 100 episodes. So if I'm here feeling defeated after only 5 episodes, I'm going to fall in that 80% of podcasts that don't make it past 10 episodes. And that's not what I'm about to do. I may not feel 100% up for the podcast today, but I'm still doing it because I'm practicing discipline, because I'm choosing to not let that mindset defeat me. I am choosing to have a stronger mindset. I am conditioning my mind to do better. Your mind needs to exercise just like your body does. A lot of people train their body, but not a lot of people train their mind. And I'm not even talking about studying something. I'm talking about having the mental toughness to be disciplined, to overcome negative thoughts. I feel like so many of us don't improve on that. So many of us go on with our lives and we don't address those negative thoughts that we have. We don't overcome them. Here's some personal examples. There was a time in my dating life where I just kept getting rejected, where I would start talking to a girl and then it would always end up in either ghosting or it would lead to nothing. And after going through that a couple of times, I started to wonder, well, what is wrong with me? I started to wonder, why do I have such bad luck? I started to wonder, is there actually someone out there for me? Or what am I doing wrong? Maybe I should just quit. And that's just part of the thought process that you go through, right? And I know other people that also go through this process, both men and women, who feel like they don't want to date anymore because they feel it's too hard, because they go through a couple failures, they go through a couple failed attempts at a relationship with someone, and then they just quit. My brothers and sisters, you do not quit. You do not quit after a couple failed attempts at anything in life. You do not quit if you're not seeing results in the gym after a month. You do not quit if you don't see results in your dating life. You do not quit if you're not seeing results posting videos. You do not quit when you're just getting started. We want things so fast. That's why I talked about instant gratification. We want things so fast that we are so impatient to put in the work and trusting the process that we will get what we want, just not at the time when we want it. So in my example, when I started to feel defeated in my dating life, what I did is I took time to reflect on myself, what I was doing wrong. How can I get better at this? Do I have to change the type of girl that I'm going for? Do I have to change the place where I'm meeting girls? And then I did work on myself. I worked on my confidence and I tried again and again until I started getting better results. And I said, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And once you start to see a little bit of results, that's when you truly start getting motivated. Just keep working hard enough until you start seeing some kind of results and just continue pushing forward. So for me, dealing with a big breakup and afterwards not really dating anybody for the next year or two, to then not being able to make it past a talking stage, to then now I'm actually going on dates, I'm actually meeting new women. And I never would have gotten to that point if I had given up when I thought about giving up. And that's the mentality you gotta have, is you gotta push through all those negative thoughts. If you're thinking, I'm not good enough, nah, you're just not good enough yet. Or maybe you are good enough, but it's just not your time yet. And I get it. It is frustrating. It is frustrating to see other people get results and you remain the same. Believe me, it is very frustrating to see that. Sometimes I get frustrated when I see other people having more photo and video clients and their work is not even that great compared to mine. Like you get what I mean? There's people who are very talented, given they deserve everything. But then there's other people who you look at them and you're like, really? Like how are they finding more success than me if I deliver better quality stuff than them? I know other guys too who look at a guy, at this fat, ugly looking guy with like a hot girl, and they say, how the hell does he pull that kind of girl? And here I am, I can't even get a text back. I've heard that quite a bit. And maybe he got lucky. Maybe he's just super funny and he's just very confident. And you'd be surprised, confidence gets you a lot farther than you think. If anything, that's probably the one big change that I had in my dating life that I immediately saw results, is just being more confident. And that takes time, but that comes from getting over failures. That comes from feeling better about yourself. Because if you don't like yourself, then how is someone else gonna like you? You know? That also came from learning how to dress a little better, putting on some good cologne. Feel good about yourself. Feel good about what you have to offer. And when you have those negative thoughts, you have to overcome them. If you're thinking, hey, I really want to start working out and seeing a big change in my body, but you go a week or two and then you're not seeing any results and you feel frustrated and you say, what's the point? I'm never gonna change and get the results that I want. And then right there when you start thinking that, that's when you lose. It's normal to have those thoughts. It's okay. But what's not okay is to succumb to those thoughts, to succumb to the negativity. You must overcome those thoughts in order to see real results. And that takes discipline. And it's not easy. But at least if you're aware of it, next time you have a negative thought about yourself, I hope you catch it and you say, nah, fuck that. I'm not going to give in to those thoughts. Because here's the thing, if you think I'm not good enough, you will be not good enough. I want you to imagine that you have to place a bet on someone to make it. You have to place a bet on someone to be successful. One of them, when you ask them, they say, I don't think I'm good enough, to be honest. Like, I just don't see myself achieving these things. The other person says, hell yeah, I'm gonna make this shit. I'm gonna make life my bitch. And he starts hyping himself up and he has this exuberance and he has this confidence about him. Who are you gonna place your bet on? Same thing when it comes to dating. If you have one person saying, I'm not sure what I bring to the table, I don't feel confident, she's too good for me, she's out of my league, versus another guy who's really confident and funny and he doesn't take himself too seriously, who do you think that girl's gonna pick? The confident guy might not even be as attractive as the other guy, but because he has that confidence, he will succeed. Because he has that confidence, you will place your bet on that guy. Maybe the one that said, I don't think I'm good enough, maybe he secretly has more talent than the other person does. But because he's already been defeated in his mind by his own thoughts, that's why the person with confidence is going to beat the person who is not confident every single time. The person with confidence and hard work will defeat the person who is talented but is lazy and doesn't believe in themselves every single time. And I think that's the difference. That's the difference when I see other people who are successful and maybe their work isn't even that good, but because they were confident, because they put in the work, because they're harder workers than I am, that's probably why they made it. That's probably why when you look at people and you ask yourself, how come they got it like that and I don't? Maybe that was the difference, because they stuck it out. They pushed through those hard times. They pushed through those negative thoughts they had about themselves, and they became confident, and that's why they are where they are at. So going back to the example about placing a bet on someone, I want you to ask yourself this question. Would you bet on yourself? Would you bet on yourself to accomplish your biggest task that you want to accomplish? And if the answer is not yes immediately, if there's doubt, then you have stuff to work on. For me, I have asked that question before, and it's interesting. I have asked myself that question at different points in my life. I asked myself that question at 18, and the answer was yes, absolutely. I thought I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 25. That wasn't the case. Then I asked myself that question again when I was around 21, 22, and the answer I had for myself was no. And then that motivated me to change that answer the next time I asked myself. The next time I asked myself was last year or 2 years ago. If time flies, I don't even know. But the answer was maybe. The answer was maybe because I feel like now versus then, I look at things in a more realistic manner. And the answer was maybe not because I didn't believe in my talents, but because I questioned my work ethic. And I realized that's something that I need to work on. So if I can improve on my work ethic, the next time I ask myself that question, it will be a definitive yes. So that is why I continue to challenge myself. That is why it's important for me. Because the next time I ask myself, would I bet on myself to follow through, to be successful on the things I want to accomplish, the answer better be yes. And if it's not, then I'm messing up. But at least I identified what I needed to work on. I needed to work on my work ethic, being consistent, and being disciplined. That's what's holding me back. And you need to find what is holding you back in your life. And it all starts with your mindset. Probably 9 out of 10 times it's going to be because you don't have the correct mindset. Because you're already defeated in your mind. You can't win the game if you're already lost in your mind. And another thing that really gave me something to think about was a quote that said, imagine telling your future kids that you gave up because it was too hard. And man, that hit me. But I definitely want to be a mentor to my future kids. And I want to be able to tell them that, hey, to get to where I'm at, to do the things that I accomplished, I wanted to give up so many times, and it took so much hard work, but I did it because I didn't give up. And I want to let them know that I had negative thoughts in my mind. I want them to know that I doubted myself, that I failed a lot, because it's important. It's important not only for my future kids to know, but for everybody to know that you will fail. You will doubt yourself, and that might never go away. But you need to strengthen your mind, because when those thoughts come in, it's a defense mechanism. It's fear, because you don't want to get defeated again. You don't want to fail again, because nobody likes failing and being defeated. No one does. But if you're going to get defeated and if you're going to fail, don't do it to yourself. Push through. Believe in yourself. Be accountable. When you catch yourself having negative thoughts, you need to shut it down. If you catch yourself thinking that you're a loser, shut that down. If you catch yourself, man, I don't think anybody cares about me, shut that down. If you catch yourself thinking, man, I'm going to be alone forever, shut that shit down. Put in the work. Look at things from a different perspective. It's all about your mindset. There's people who say, I'm afraid I'm going to end up alone because I haven't found my partner yet. But you're not going to find your partner if you're locked up in your house all the time. You know what I mean? Get off the dating apps. Go meet people in person. If you think, hey, I'm a loser, I don't like my body, I'm fat, I'm ugly, whatever. Well, if you're not doing anything, then how do you expect your life to change? Get up and exercise. Go to the gym. You don't want to go to the gym? Walk. You don't want to walk outside because it's too dark? That's okay. Buy a treadmill. Oh, but it's kind of expensive. Invest in yourself. Stop making excuses. The next time I think to myself, oh, I don't feel like recording this podcast because I'm not sure if I'm feeling like talking about the topics that I want, or I'm not sure if I have the right mindset to talk about this right now, I'm going to say, Brian, shut the fuck up. Record the fucking podcast. You know what I mean? We can't succumb to these thoughts. We're all victims of it, but we got to stop. So let's all overcome these negative thoughts and live the life that we deserve by earning it.